dance and dance all on my own. All my friends went home, but I don't want to waste a song in the moonlight's never-ending glow. I'll be dancing all alone. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a little bit of a podcast here, and the podcast is going to be with Bren Tradess. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, smash the super thanks button down below, super chats as well. And yeah, we have a good thing going on here. Let's talk about OMI. OMI, that's up a little bit on the day. It's up 8.5% to 000143. Now, this is not the highest that it's been. We have had it go to 1520 a couple of times. Went up big once, went right almost all the way back down, and then it kind of had a little bottom, wick down to 1320. I'm thinking it's going back into the 1.2s, goes back up to 1520, comes back down to about 136-ish. So you are seeing some higher lows, which is what you like to see. But again, we did again twice at 1520, got rejected. Third time, can it happen? If it does, do we break through? I don't know. But this has been pretty exciting. And then you have, let's take a look at the tokens. We had a bunch of sales over the last 24 hours. Clever Jerk, that dude is going insane with a bunch of the collectibles, the sequentials, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last night after my stream, I had posted about Blah, BLAAAH, I think the name is, had bought an Eddie Riso Batman for $4,900, Becky Cloonan for $3,000, and a Joey Madura for $2,000. So it's $5,000. So it's about $10,000 just on these three collectibles. And it's like, what is so special about these? Like you could see the 641, 91, and this one I assume is 30 something. Why is that happening? Well, it's because they were special mints. They did belong to Name Coast and Lil Pitt, Rudy and Tina, and they are some of the biggest collectors in the game. And they had sold their low mints. I think they were all below. They were all sub 30. And why are they doing that? Well, there's another reason. There is a reason why they're doing that, and you'll see at some point. I don't know when, but yeah. Blah going in and buying all three of those, spending 5 figures just like that. And then you have, actually, yeah, so after that yesterday, we had Shaw saying odds for NFTs to make a comeback in 2026 is at 65%, which is really, really big because Polymarket, as we know, does not lie. Those numbers are better than Vegas numbers. They are just generally more reliable than almost anything else on Earth. So yeah, total NFT market cap to surpass 10 billion by December 2026. So obviously they will come back, and obviously it's not going to happen the same way as it did last time. It'll happen in a much different way. Will a bunch of meme stuff come back? Unfortunately, yes, it will. But at the same time, there's going to be a concentration of capital going into things that is having perceived long-term value. You'll have the punks, the apes, both bored and mutant. You have the pudgies, both normal pudgies and lil pudgies. You're probably going to have chimpers. You're probably going to have claynosaurs. Obviously, my big bet is in VeVe. Another smaller bet of mine is in VeeFriends, but that is growing. I will probably get another VeeFriends at some point. I had a talk with Craig. He's really, really big in chimper. He's not exactly on the team, but just super bullish on it. Does have a little bit of alpha. A lot of alpha. He didn't really share much with me. I don't know if he can, if I could say whether he did or didn't. But either way, they had a weird thing. Originally, their original contract address, they had to migrate over, and it seems like it's going well. Out of the 5,000, I think 555, there's like 3,500 of them that have migrated over. Jay Torres is justice for Tiny Jones and Brock. Yeah, justice for them. Preach. Dump trucks airdropping. Whoa, I never meant to brag. Now I got them where I want them now. Whoa. Attention, brag. You went all the way from Oh, solo leveling does have a. I love how VeVe tagged solo leveling like the fan account. It actually wasn't VeVe. It was Women X VeVe, but VeVe had retweeted it. Yeah, it's good stuff. So on Thursday, which I guess is tonight, Gleam sweepstakes, make sure you do it for the sweepstakes. I guess they're having an official Discord thing, and the first place of whoever gets picked is going to get a Sungwoo ultra rare Jin Sung. Hold on, give me one sec here. I have to. Yeah. Sorry about that. I just had to make sure we are actually at 8 p.m. and Bren Tradess is coming on in like 2 minutes. Still interested in Earth2, of course. And I will tell you why Booth is talking about Earth2 is because I did make a post before, and it says, "Let me tell you a story. Back in 2020, I got into Earth2 IO. A ton of Americans and some Europeans started buying land for 10 cents a tile. Within months, we had all made a killing. They were probably buying random places, mostly in America. Competition was fierce. Then the Asians came in, Koreans specifically. Unlike the rest of the players that worked alone, they moved as a single unit. They went into countries, bought up all of their landmarks first, raised the average price of the tiles, built hype up, and then sold them to the rest of us. They did this in multiple countries and crushed it every single time. And I think they're about to do it again, this time with VeVe Official. Since VeVe announced they acquired the solo leveling license, they started a new Instagram page and have gotten Korean influencers to promote the app and their drop. Thousands of new users have been coming in beforehand, but again, mostly Americans and some Europeans. Once the Koreans take notice, learn that there's a limited number of Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Mickey Mouse, Darth Vader, etc., they'll do the same thing that they did in Earth 2. It might start slow, and then all at once. Most likely when you're sleeping. You'll one day wake up and boom, Secret Rare Spider-Man will be a 5-figure item, as will Mickey, then comics, and they'll use Omi to help them do it. I've seen this before with Earth 2. It didn't excite me then. It sure as heck does now. And then I post a photo of the VeVe Official, the new Instagram account, having actually 1,000 followers. They got that really, really quickly. So I think how they did that, if we just go in and search VeVe Korea Official, is because they had 2 videos, one of which was from Yinvinza, who has 41,000 followers, did a video on VeVe. And then the other one is from, nope, not that one. KXWXO, which has 21,000 followers. So they have been getting a couple of Korean influencers to go in and be like, yeah, let's go get that bread. And whatever money that VeVe's paying them has to be enough for them to do videos on it. And they went from like 95 followers to 1,100 pretty quickly. How many of them are real accounts? How many of them are bots? I don't know. Be advised, there is, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Hold on. I would say at least 8%, if not more, are people that had followed the original VeVe account. So I would say a good 80 of them, maybe 85 of them will probably be the ones that will go in and say like, oh yeah, it's, me from the other account. But that still does leave a good 1,000+ new users for Korea. And how many of them are following just to follow? How many are following for whatever? Also, Bitcoin Daily just closed above 75,000 for the first time in the last 73 days. I repeat, Bitcoin Daily just closed above 75,000 for the first time in the last 73 days. Bullish signs, we're showing a lot of strength. And there's a lot of people going in and purchasing a lot. Then the Asians came in. What do I say? Yeah, they did. They came in. It was great. Omar Loves Omi says, good evening. Good evening, Omar. Yeah, hope you're doing well. Yeah. Justin Yang, the CEO of VeVe Korea, hath liked that as well. Let me get out of there. Agreed. Bren had to reset his computer, but he'll be right here. He'll give him just another few minutes, and then he'll be here. Also, comics and crypto, love them. I told them before that, like, hey, Mickey and Friends sold out. So there is a little bit of a difference with his number and the numbers that are actually there. He kind of just, I think, jumped the gun a little bit. I'll show you his thing, and then I'll show you the actual numbers. But Comics and Crypto had posted saying, sold out. The Mickey and Friends Series 2 collection on VeVe Official has officially sold out. This drop featured the first appearances of Goofy and Pluto, making it a must-have for Disney collectors. By the numbers, a ton of them have sold, which is a ton of gross sales. Digital collectibles are only getting started. He does go over just numbers that aren't 100% accurate because you have to go in and take a look at the crafts. He's including the crafts, which the crafts do technically count as sold, even though there wasn't really money there for that to happen. But what you have to do, because the crafting is free, all you have to do is have an uncommon, and then you get to craft it. So basically what you had is you take a look at well, first, let me just show you. Sold out, very nice. But you have to take a look at the editions in circulation, which are 7,196. And you say, okay, how do we get that number? Total editions, and you subtract the withheld editions, 300. So that's how you get that number. But not all of them are for sale because, again, a good amount of them, like the craft, it says 1928. I think all of those did happen to be crafted. But anyway, you take the sold editions. Actually, why does it say 6620? All right, hold on. Maybe I'm mistaken on this. What is 1876 times 2, 3752? Actually, what is it? 1876 and 1878. Okay, then 577 plus 46. So it actually does say 5315. But let me see one thing here. 7196 minus, I don't know why the uncommons say 13, but let's say minus 1312, 5884 times 20. We might actually be looking at $117,000, anywhere from 105, because it's hard to tell. Because it says sold out, but the uncommons, it looks like there's a tiny discrepancy there, a tiny discrepancy on the ultra, 1 and 2. The secret rares were fine. But I'm just trying to figure out where to subtract the crafted from. But if it says 6627 minus 1312 times 20, so yeah, anywhere from 106 to 117. But that 132 is just a over estimate. But either way, it's well over 100 grand. VeVe has done also happy birthday, Wendy. It's Wen Lopez's birthday. We love her. They did $250,000 last month. They did over 300,000 already this month. They're probably at like 305, give or take, because the Star Wars drop had grossed over 9 grand as well. They have, so they're let's say like 305, 310. They'll do 20,000 on the what's it called, Street Fighter. And then even though they won't sell out of solo leveling right away, there is still going to be a third of the month left for it to sell out. So I do believe that'll be another $100,000 there. So it's another 120. So there'll be up to about 420, 428, let's say 430. And then after that, I'm going to say that once they're at 430, they're going to have other drops after the 19th. They haven't really told us what those are going to be yet, but at some point we will get those afterwards, like the coming soons after solo leveling. Oh, there's something called Marvel Boy on April 21st. Novar stars as Marvel Boy in the Kree space. I don't think that's going to sell much. There's 2,000 editions of those. Yeah. And again, it's just barely Q2. Are we going to have a bigger? Yeah, I mean, because we have May, like it's going to be Star Wars month in May, and that's going to be incredible. So yeah, it's off to a great start this quarter. April, May will be good. I don't know what June's going to be like. And then again, Omi seems to have been heating up at least a little bit today. So yeah, it's up about 10%, 143. It was up a lot higher at the 1.5s. And again, we went over that before on why it's not there right now. But let's take a look at some of the rest of collectibles before our friend Bren Tradess gets here. Journey into Mystery, number 83, with first appearance of Thor. The commons are worth about $20. Actually, the commons are worth $28 right now. I'm going to sell a couple because I got a bunch at like 14. Not a bunch. I have 5, right? 3 at 14, 2 at 17. Those are the ones that I got. But before I get to selling them, why I'm taking a look at is because one sold for over $1,500. And it's like, well, why? How did that happen when the floor is like $28? It happened because it was number 862. So this did come out in the year 1962. So you would think the number 1962 would be worth that at least, and it probably is. It's probably even worth more than that. Well, why 862? Well, what month did it come out? It actually came out in August of 1962. So 862. That's why. And again, that's most people would be like, yeah, I see that, you know, a little bit of a reach, but I see the connection. Most people would not have paid the $1,500 for it, but someone did, and they're like, yeah, this is worth it, 100%. Because maybe the 1962 is not there, maybe it's held back, maybe it's in a bot account, and this might be the closest that you get. And again, the mint 1962 is probably going to go for thousands of dollars, whereas this one, just the number 862, went for $1,500. So they did set a precedent there. If this is how much they're willing to do for an 862, how much are they going to do for the actual 1962? And it's going to be a lot. And most of the big sales that you've seen are special mints. So I do agree that will go higher. But anyway, I'm going to sell a couple of these. Because again, if I double my money, why the heck not? Let's try to sell one for 175,000 Omi. Make it $24. Okay, very good. Listing completed. There was a Star Wars one, same thing. One of the Star Wars ones sold for a couple $100 when the floor is like $7. Let's see which one. I don't know. Either the 1956, the 1951. I don't know why that sold for that much. That doesn't compute. Like I don't know why. Can anyone explain why the Star Wars comic number 1, like the common, sold for $360? I'm very, very curious about that. If anyone can tell me, just by all means, let me know. Fantastic Four. Ultra rare. Oh, the Watcher makes his debut. Okay. I was say it's over $200. The ultra rare, like what? But it's the Watcher's first appearance. 1,000 of these. Was it a special mint? Number 644 by Woody 86. And yeah, 230. Okay, all right, dope. But if we go to the rest of the 30 days, we take a look at Spider-Man. He's at $3,400. Aang's at 23. Donnie's at 24,000. VeVe Gold Logo's at 4,700. Todd's at 347. Raphael Special Editions at 667. Not bad, considering the rest of the Raphaels were sold for about $1,000 each on average, and you can get this Raphael Special Edition for 667. That's not bad. It's really not bad. Moving on past that, partner statue is at 1133. I was waiting for this to go down quite a bit. It just hasn't yet because Omi's gone up. So even if it does go down to like 7 million Omi, it's still going to be like $1,000. But it's 7,985, 7,985,000 Omi. I was hoping, like, there are like 3 people that are like kind of fight for, to see who can go lower. I was hoping to see like a battle there, like race to the bottom, and somebody lists for like 850, and then I just pounce on it, I'd snipe it. But unfortunately, that's not what we're getting right now. Not right now. Let's do Aang Spirit Worlds at 200, Eddie Riso at 695, not bad. Taking a look at so Mickey's were down to like $6. He's up to $9 now. The minis, I don't have too much data on. I'll go over that in a minute. I'll take a look. Pluto's were like $130. Up to 227 right now, and 227 on the stacker and 210 on the app. Goofy's 256 on stacker, 319 on the app. So those, like, whoever got the number 11 Pluto, for $1,000, they did really, really well. There was a Goofy number 11 for 1,300. I'm pretty sure that one had sold. Oh, it's still there for 1,300. Listen, at this point, that's like 4x the floor. When it was 1,300 and the floor was like 150, it's like, yeah, not 10x. But now that the floor on the app is like 300. Stacker's 255. That is looking quite impressive. Is May 4th going to be a gem squeezer? Maybe. It might. We're not 100% sure yet. All good. Take your time. Take your time, senor. I mean, I don't know how many people, like, if solo leveling isn't doing it, which it is, we'll take a look. Oh, speak of the devil.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Hey, so sorry about that, bro. This is why my Wi-Fi was fucked up, but I apologize to the audience. I need to be on time. This is Randy and I's show every Thursday. I appreciate everybody for being here, but how's everyone doing?
All good. I held it down. Me and Dashi took turns going and entertaining, and the Yoshi boys entertaining the audience.
Let's go.
Talking about gem squeezes and sales and all that jazz. Booth saying is Star Wars #1 uncommon movie cover art. Yeah, it is cool. So JKRB showcases my boy. That's true.
You guys need to educate me on a lot of this, like Star Wars and all this other shit. Like, it's completely new to me, so this is great.
You don't know Star Wars?
I mean, of course I've seen all the movies. Not even the newest ones, to be honest. I saw the first newest one.
Yeah.
Where and after that I didn't see any, but of course I've seen all like the original and the second tier ones and stuff. But other than that, to be honest, no, a lot I can learn.
In VeVe, there's a lot of people going after special numbers. They'll go after like, so for example, Journey into Mystery number 83 is the first appearance of Thor in the comics, and in general, that's a good comic to get. It's worth a ton on the outside. Like in the real physical comic books, people pay insane amounts of money for that. In the digital world, the commons are like $20. But because there's like 10,000 of them split between common and secret rare. But so there's like a lot of them, and VeVe doesn't have a ton of users. They have like 1,200 a day, give or take. But what a lot of people look at is, okay, well, if there's 10,000 mint numbers, then there should be number 1962. And that's the year that it happened to come out. So that one is in some random person's account. We don't know whose. It hasn't surfaced like ever. But it was first sold in August of 1962. So 862. So even though the floor on that is like $26, the mint number 862 just sold for $1,500 because in VeVe, mint numbers representing the year that the thing came out is worth like a ton. Like the Mickey 1923s or the first, like anything Disney 1923, like when Disney was founded, that is always going to have a crazy premium.
Interesting.
And that's kind of why I got like one of the cynical cat that I have is because when you take a look at it, it says mint number 34,000, and it just looked like nice and clean. It wasn't like 34,152. It just had that number 34,000. Is that important in VeeFriends, or do people not really care?
That's a good question. I was just thinking, what first came to my mind when you were saying that is like right now in NFTs, even rarities and stuff like in VeeFriends, like the cores versus like very rares and stuff we were talking about, even that's not really giving much of a premium, let alone like these different numbers. But I'd imagine the VeVe people are more just hardcore like comic, like collecting types, that I would imagine like when a bunch of people come into digital collectibles, it probably will trend more towards that, where people will care about that type of stuff, if I had to guess. But right now, to be honest, not really. You don't hear too many people talking about that stuff, very often. At least I don't.
Okay, it's good to know. So a lot of people, most people, like for me, it's like, just give me the collectible. I don't care about like, I don't really care about the mint number. But if I have, let's say, happen to get lucky and 2 out of 3, you know, in a set, I have the same number, I'll hunt for the other one and I'll pay a premium for that just to have it all matching and look all nice and nice. But most people, yeah, they just want the collectible. They don't really care. But a growing minority of people that do care, like let's say like 3 or 5% that will genuinely pay a large premium for it. Like 95% of people, like they don't really care. They want it so they can sell it to those people. It's just been a growing thing. And there's people that have like these bounties. Like, have you ever watched Solo Leveling? Also, you're on mute.
Sorry, no, to be honest, like I was telling you, I think last show, like when everybody got into Netflix, including anime and everything, like I'm lame. I just was watching YouTube, so my my anime knowledge and all that is also very low. So no, I've not seen Solo Leveling, which is
Gotcha.
probably crazy.
It's yeah, it's like the best anime of 2025, or it was the most watched anime in 2025. And it like I think the manga ended and production started on the anime in 2018. So VeVe has the license and they have the collectibles coming out on Sunday, and there's a $5,000 bounty on mint number 2018, and it's like, oh,
Are
so
these
like
guys like typically like people coming in that are Solo Leveling, fans? Or are these like typically guys that are like buying up all of these different ones with the numbers that are kind of whales of VeVe, or is it like very?
So you have a lot of different factions. You have, let's say, 10% like flippers. Like they'll go after only drops that are like either super scarce or super popular because they know they'll be able to flip. So you have those. I think you have those in every community.
Yeah.
And then like I think there's somebody on OpenSea with a wallet that is called like the Demon Flipper or Flipper Demon or something like that. Because I saw him have one of the like the VeeFriends collectibles, and he had something for like 0.31 ETH and sold it for 0.33 ETH. So I was like, okay, see what you did there, and people make money that way. You also have just the long-term hodlers that are just like, yeah, I'm holding it for 20 years. Saw what happened with Pokemon cards. And they're just like, I'm just going to hold it for that long. And most of those people are people that just go in and they have a good amount of money already, so they don't mind tying up like 20 grand or whatever for X amount of time, because that's like worth so little of their net worth.
Yeah.
You'll have the people that like I'll only go for things that I like. Like for Avatar, I spent like 1,300 on that. For most drops, I don't really go for. If I do like it enough, I'll buy them in the secondary market, because a lot of the things like they are chases. Like the new Mickey and Friends drop that they just had. We have like a dozen Mickey Mouses on the platform. And there's like two. There was only one other Minnie Mouse, but we've had Donald Duck and we've had Daisy Duck before, but we've never had Goofy or Pluto. So I went for the drop for one, and I got a mini. Like cool. $20. I probably should have done more, because the Plutos and Goofies are going for like 250 now.
Yeah.
But you have people that will say like, I like Mickey and Minnie, and I know people are going to be hunting for that, the secret rares, and they're just going to dump Mickey and Minnie because we've seen them before. And yeah, I think Minnie was down to like $3, Mickey was down to like $6. Then after it sold out, Minnie went up to $6.
So
Mickey
technically,
went.
would this be Minnie Mouse's digital rookie collectible, or is it,
No, I'll show you Minnie's
or
rookie.
say Goofy or whatever the new one, Goofy?
So yeah, this will
That's
be
what you
Goofy.
look at it as, like overall, not even in VeVe. Like it's the rookie digital collectible for
Correct.
Goofy.
Yes.
Okay, so that the potential in that's like big, right? Like if digital collecting and digital collectibles become as big as we may talk about, like obviously the digital fucking Goofy or Donald Duck, even not even Mickey, like just these ones you got for what, $20?
Yeah. So yeah. So there's some people, like I'll look at the top holders now. There's some people that they know if they just keep hitting that buy button, they'll get it eventually. and you got this guy. I don't know how many he pulled, like how many times he pulled the lever for how many buys, but the top holders, this guy's got 8, Vicente's got 5, Carl, Camzel one. So there's just people that now they could have just purchased it off the secondary market, but most likely they just did it with pulls.
Goofies? You're talking about which character?
Oh, this is for the Goofy.
Oh, it's Goofies. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's pretty crazy. So, and is there like rarer ones? Or are they all like the same?
So there, we had, I'll go over the numbers right now. For the Mickey and Minnie, which again, we've had like half a dozen Mickeys, but we've only had one other Minnie. But for both of those were uncommons. And there was 1,877 of those each.
Okay.
For the ultra rares, the Donald and Daisy, there were 578 each. And then for the Pluto and Goofies, there was 203 each.
Okay, so damn. So there's only 200 of the digital Goofy rookie cards. If that's what, damn.
Yeah, but here's like where people are. I don't want to say skeptical, but they, like for Pokemon, like like Charizard, right?
Yeah, of course.
So when you think of Charizard, you think of like the first edition, like Mitsuhiro Arita, like Joan, like that's what most people think of when I think of the Charizard, right?
Yeah.
So that first edition that everyone knows and loves is because that was the Charizard from the Wizards of the Coast set that came out when Pokemon, like the anime came out, like it became super popular. There was actually like 5 other Charizards before that one.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this last show, right? Like, and then I forgot what conclusion we came to, but why was the first edition, which is probably what you're getting to. Wait, why is the first edition Charizard the one that is kind of like valued the highest?
It just that's what people grew up with. That was their first impression of it, and that's what everyone thinks of as the first, because that's when everyone got a taste of Pokemon, and that was the chase. That was the grail. Like there were other Charizards that were out there that you could get fairly easily, but it's just not what everyone was into. So there's
So do you think something like VeeFriends with Topps Chrome, even though there's a Series 1, the Series 1 boxes are interesting though. I don't know if we talked really much of the cards for VeeFriends, but
yeah, go into them.
The Series 1 cards, which they came out with first, is through Zero Cool. Are you familiar?
No, tell me about
So
them.
it's like another company that was started by the guy that started StockX. I forgot his name. But I think they eventually sold to Topps. But anyway, it's like this other company, and they started the Series 1 cards. I forgot how many boxes. I think only. I don't know how many boxes, but there's only 10,000 cards. There's a card for every one of the NFTs, right?
Okay.
So those are super rare. Like those right now are going for 6,000 or 7,000 a box. Like whenever somebody opens them, like on Whatnot, everybody's like super hyped because like there's still the Black Cat Hollow that this guy Mike JY probably has like a $100,000 bounty on or some shit. I forgot how much.
Oh shit.
That's the guy I told you he bought the Topps Chrome Black Cat Superfractor for like 2 gift code NFTs, which are like 15,000 plus like I don't know how much money. But anyway, I'll get to what I'm trying to say. The Series 1 cards, only 10,000 of them. Probably half those boxes have been opened, so there's probably only like 200 boxes or something left. But then there's the Series 2, which is a TCG, and then the what's it called? Topps Chrome, which is like kind of what you were saying, where it's like the general public like first, taste of it, especially maybe the second, third, fourth one when more people are on it. Like I could see the Topps Chrome one. I don't know. My question is that like maybe the Topps Chrome one might be the biggest, even though it's not the first.
Yeah. So that's where a couple. So there's also other collectible platforms out there like Disney Pinnacle and Cryptoys, which I think Cryptoys was bought by Pudgy Penguins or Abstract Chain. They're going on Abstract Chain. They're called Digitoys now.
Yeah.
But there's like I think there's Princess Leia on there, and I think they have Yoda on there. So they have, if you want to go and be super like serious, okay, what's the rookie card? What's the first appearance of these characters on the blockchain? It's actually them. It's actually on that platform. But Digitoys kind of like failed, and they didn't have any new product out for like several months. The platform was kind of dead, but because they had really good licenses, like having the Disney license, and they had, I think, Masters of the Universe as well, like He-Man, they got bought out by Pudgies or
Was
Abstract.
Goofy on
It's one
there?
of those things.
They have a Goofy?
They don't have Goofy now.
Okay, so this is still the first Goofy, you know?
But like it's going to be May next month, which is like Star Wars month. So there's a chance that we either get Leia or Yoda. And even though there's technically another one out there, the platform wasn't really that popular, and it kind of didn't do well. Now it might have a revitalization, and that one I think will always have value because it is still Yoda. Like it would still be Leia. The one on VeVe though is probably going to be the one that retains the most value.
So remind me, VeVe's obviously on its own chain still, like
they're on Collect Chain.
Okay, what are the chances they start going like the what's it called, the Panini or whatever, and they just port it to ETH or some other L2 that's more accessible to more people or whatever? Or do you think it just doesn't matter?
It'll definitely matter. What I've learned, at least this was like the cry last time, where it's like, well, they're not really NFTs. First the cry was they were ZK rollups when they were on Immutable X, which means that like what was on the NFT was really just like a file or like a number. But that file or number represented like the images and what you could do with it in AR. But there was some Web3 purists that are like, well, if it's not the actual NFT, if it's just like numbers, if it's just a series of ones and zeros, then it doesn't really mean anything. And are those really NFTs? Most of those people have kind of faded away. But then there was still a bunch of people that said, like, listen, I would consider this an NFT, but I can't self-custody it. Like, I can't put it in my MetaMask. What if the company shuts down? We've seen so many of these other platforms, and they
today the what's it called? They're all
Sandy?
talking about, what'd you say?
Sandy?
Foundation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Foundation. Now I guess Jack Butcher and a few other of those people are like trying to save it. But yeah, that's another topic. It's like very few of these NFTs are actually on chain, even the ETH ones. They're, if whatever AWS or whatever it's hosted on, goes out, then they're not directly on chain. I think a lot of these are. I wonder if, VeeFriends with the book games we were talking about, they were on IMX as well. And then now they're porting or allowing people to port them over to base chain, which is obviously like on EVM or an ETH, L2, which more people could use. But yeah, I think it'll just be easier to like just port. I'm sure VeVe will have something like that for ETH or some kind of L2.
Yeah, so their mission now, because a lot of people were saying that, like, well, I can't stack them on my MetaMask, so all of the collectibles. So it's really impressive for Collect Chain because when they were on Immutable X, and originally they were on this thing called GoChain, which there's a whole giant backstory about that. But when they went to migrate from GoChain to Immutable X, they had to put out like a couple million NFTs and migrate, and it took several weeks.
Yeah.
And we were thinking like, last year or a few months ago, it was like January. They're like, well, now we have like 12 million collectibles we have to transport from Immutable X to Collect Chain. How the fudge is this going to go? And they did it in a few hours. So Collect Chain is really impressive at that level. And nobody knew anything. Like it just happens in the background. Before October, maybe by October, but maybe like August, they want to do it by summer. Is that the goal? Be full self-custody for all of these collectibles.
Yeah.
But by summer. And I think that's when a lot of people be like, okay, now I'll do it. Like there was last time a guy that had a Bored Ape. At the time, it was worth like $400-something thousand, and he had like 20 of them. And he's like, oh my God, there's first appearance Mickey Mouse. Yeah, of course it sold out in 1 second. I'll give you one of my Bored Apes for it. And then he recognized that like, oh, I can't self-custody this, and he backed out of the deal.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I think that that type of person would say like, okay, now I can self-custody. There's no reason for me not to be able to get the first appearance Mickey, because he could do that. So that's why I think a lot of people come in, and to answer your question, yeah, they'll do that within the next 6 months.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
We should, speaking of Bored Apes, the entire NFT market's kind of up the last week or so from, with the crypto market in general.
Mm.
You're seeing ETH, Bitcoin going up. And then, some NFTs are up with it. For the last year or so, or at least the last couple years, probably the Pudgies and Apes have kind of been neck and neck as like the top one or two, like under the Crypto Punks, right? We're
Yeah.
talking the IPs. It'll be, obviously the Crypto Punks, and then it'll be, going back and forth between the Apes and the Pudgies. They both were at like 4 ETH, and then now you're starting to see Apes, Bored Ape Yacht Club, start to pull away at to like 6 ETH. They're kind of announcing that they're gonna, like, a date, like, I don't know when, 6 months from now, I think, when their clubhouse is going to be done.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read about that at all.
I've read about the other side, Adam Weitzman. He'll be on the podcast at some point too. He's a cool guy. Um,
Yeah,
he invests like a bunch of. I think he even has like that. Was it the Dookie Dash key or something?
yeah. No, I mean, Adam's I've been watching some interviews from him in the last few days, from just like his story and shit, just from like a couple years ago. He's a beast. But yeah, he was originally involved with like the company that bought the Dookie Dash thing, the HTVML or whatever. But then after that, he just started buying a bunch of the other deeds. He owns like hundreds or thousands of them now. And other deeds, for the people who don't know, is like essentially the, Bored Ape Yacht Club. They've been building the other side, kind of metaverse, like game, whatever, for the last 4 or 5 years. It's starting to really now just come out and people, be able to play it and stuff. But the other deeds are you know, essentially where there be parts of the map that are ownable, like where you can buy. There's the NFTs are 100,000 of them, I believe, and no, it's not fully built yet. Obviously, you don't know fully what it does, but you'd imagine you'd be able to, like, I think, mine some type of resources, which can obviously sell for like the ape coin. That's what people have theorized, and essentially, I mean, it's like, imagine if World of Warcraft or whatever, you could own a piece of the map when it first started. That's essentially the concept. Now the game itself has to get big and everything, and people, play it. But yeah, have you tried the other side yet?
I have not.
You should
I did
definitely check
play
it out.
the Dookie Dash. That was actually pretty fun, but I do remember playing that. But yeah, I haven't
You
checked
need to
out the.
check out the other side, because I mean, like, first of all, it's actually pretty good. Like, there's not a lot to do right now, but it looks pretty freaking good. And obviously, I mean, there's a lot of potential for this in general. Obviously, you saw, what's it called, the metaverse they shut down.
They did backpedal on that.
They
Or
did.
they, yeah, it was like the next day. Yeah.
Damn, so they're keeping it up.
Mhm.
They're just testing people's like response or reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should definitely check it out. I mean, there's just a lot of potential for it. Imagine if it does become some type of like metaverse where NFTs are involved. I mean, each of these projects you can use, like, a lot of them only have one NFT so far for the collection, but you can essentially use your NFT like as a character. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's the metaverse is a very interesting thing because it obviously the big hype word, big buzzword last year, and then or last cycle, Meta was spending I don't know how many billions a year on it. I don't know how much they're spending on it now. They definitely cut back a lot. But I do think that'll come back, and just so many of them died that when there's going to be a couple of them like, oh, this is really cool, and maybe it's Decentraland, maybe it's Sandbox. Like, I doubt it's any of those because like Gucci left and Snoop Dogg left, and anyone that were in there, they have like 30 active users a month. Even VeVe's metaverse has a couple dozen active users. Like, it's very, very small. But at some point when things get a little bit easier to use and to build on, and more people start coming back into it, especially with like AR glasses, I think that'll be good. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
I'll check it out for how much does a parcel of land go for in the
Other side right now, they're probably like 0.08 or something.
and how many of them are
That's
there?
pretty cheap. There's like 100,000 of them.
Hmm,
Yeah.
okay.
And the thing is like, you probably, back in the day, it's like everybody laughs at it. Like, there was the other deeds like mint back kind of really at the peak of the bull run in like 2021, 2022,
Yeah.
where people were spending crazy money on it, but really spending like 5, 6, 7 ETH on gas just to mint it because there's so many
Yeah,
fucking people doing it. Do you remember that?
I do. It was insane. The gas was horrible.
Bro, yeah, dude, and then obviously now they've come all the way back down to 0.10. Obviously, Bored Ape Yacht Club kind of used the funds to build the game over the last 4 or 5 years. Now they have to obviously, hopefully, build value for the parcels because some people paid like I don't know 1 ETH at the time for them or way more. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
yeah. I'm glad that ETH has continued to still stay worked on, and the gas fees are very, very cheap now. I remember people like, oh, let's do the deal at like 4 a.m. so that this way the network isn't clogged. It's like, oh God, that was rough. It was a rough time.
Yeah, the last few years they kind of gone. They're not completely going away from the layer twos, but they're really focusing finally on trying to scale the layer one,
Yeah.
which they weren't really able to do, years back. But so yeah, I mean, freaking what was I gonna say? Totally forgot. It'll come back to me.
It's all good. It's all good. Um, so right now, I was on a. I was on. Was it your space yesterday? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going over on the space, which it was great, by the way. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, glad
And
to have
then
you.
Tommy B had a space like at like 11 after my live. I think I stayed on for like 90 minutes. I couldn't figure out who the winner, but did he wind up giving away a VeeFriends?
Tommy V.
Tommy B, B as in Bravo. He
Wait, he gave away. I didn't see. I don't think
he was doing. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Tommy B. What's
T
his
O.
on Twitter?
It's called at real Tommy BB.
Hold on. At real Tommy.
BB, BIBI.
Oh, you know what? I did see the someone post about it and then somebody yeah. Did he give it away on a space?
So he was doing like he gave away a couple long necks and something else, and then he says at 200 people, I'll give away a VeeFriends Series One. I was like, what the shit? So I went in and he invited me up as speaker. I was like, okay, and then I just had a long day. I actually like fell asleep. I spoke like twice, and then at the end, I was like, okay, I got to go to bed. Um, so I don't know if he ever got the 200 people there, but he's like, at 200 people, I'm going to give away a VeeFriend, and he posts a lot, so I can't even find the.
Bro, I saw. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's a crazy giveaway. That's insane.
Yeah,
200 people on the space. How many people were on there when you were?
there was like 50 when I was like paying attention, and then I don't know what it got up to. Like I assume it's pretty easy to get that many people. I have like
Be
I
surprised.
haven't done a space in forever, but like it shouldn't be that, especially if you're giving away that, it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I mean the discoverability on Twitter is kind of weird lately. Um, like I'll see. Yeah, it definitely it used to push video content just hard no matter what, but now it's definitely slowed down, especially with crypto content. So, it's definitely it takes time to build it up. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he got to 100, maybe 200 by the end,
Yeah,
especially if he's giving that away. But yeah, no, that space last night was good. It was like the
yeah,
third space that we had done, my buddy Hemdog and I, and
yeah.
yeah, it was finally great that you could come on. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it was good. So that's what and there's no shade to the VV space holders because they do an insane amount of spaces, and I'm like never on them, but um a lot of spaces from what I've seen the last year or two is that they're hangout spaces, which is fine. You need to build the community, you need to do whatever. But like half the time I'm in these spaces, it's like it's just music. And like I understand, like, hey, we've been going on for about an hour. Let's reset the room, let's chill a little bit, let's sing some tunes while we go to the bathroom, take some water. I understand. But it's like some of the space I'm on, it's like half the time, like that's what it is. And it's like and I get it, it's cool to hang out, but I miss the days where there was hardworking, successful people in their field talking about these ideas on why they think what's going to do X and what's going to do Y.
Yep.
And your space last night was the first time in a while where I've had that free flow exchange of ideas with other people. And I like to be able to talk like, hey, here's what I like, that type of intelligent conversation. And so X was really weird for me. It kept kicking me out. And I couldn't even see like who else was there. I'm like, I don't know what the other speakers were or how many other people were there.
Really?
But yeah, how many people were there?
Dude, yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that because that's like exactly like kind of what we're going for. Is like we did interview a few like great founders, like Poppy from Quirkies, I was telling you about, Chimpers, the insight from Chimpers, and like a few other people. But the best spaces so far have been the ones that are like we're just discussing stuff, and that's what we're going for, is just having a place where all different collections, NFT collections, people from crypto as well, can come together and talk. Because I do agree, most of these spaces, and that's kind of what spaces are good for a lot of times. And I do enjoy a lot of the ones that are entertainment, but most of it's just shit talking, right? And they'll talk about the current stuff, but it'll just be mostly like banter and stuff, which is great. But that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to do on those spaces. That's why I really like my buddy Hen Dog. No, not only is he really smart, but he's like funny and stuff too, and whatever. So it's like we're trying to get both of those worlds, like the banter and entertainment, but also talking about real shit. Like we're talking about, interest rates and all that different stuff yesterday. So it was yeah, it was fun. Oh, how many people were on though? At one point, it started out, we had like 40, 50, and then got up to 120, 130 at the end, which was like double, or yeah, it was way more than what we've had the last one. So maybe 60, 70. So it was 120, 130. Do you know who the Doginal Dog NFTs are?
I know of them, but I don't have one. I don't know what chain are they on?
It's actually on the Doge chain, like it's like an inscription, like ordinals are.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's on that whatever the Doge chain is, or maybe Bitcoin itself. But yeah, they're a really strong NFT community anyway. The guy who started it, this guy Bark, who has like 300,000 followers, he came up, and a lot of those guys came on the space. They're like a really strong community. But yeah, it was fun.
Cool. I just had something come across my desk here.
What is
The
it?
Mickey I was just talking about that has like a $9 floor. The number 1901, the year that Walt Disney was born, sold for $2,029.40. That is bananas.
Jeez, when was that?
Like an hour ago.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. And then somebody just messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I have the 1901 Mini. Do you think you can set up a deal for me?" I was like, "Okay, I'll see what we can do."
Damn. So you're like a broker? You're like the
Um,
VeVe broker?
no, I just so I assume you get this all the time with VeeFriends and maybe other things as well, but for my shows, when when I first started this in like 2021, like covering VeVe, I would take a look at like, okay, what sold today on the market for what did Omi do, why, what are the wallets that are buying, like, and I would actively do research on it. And then after a while, it got to the point where people would say like, hey, have you seen this? Hey, check out this article. Hey, I just found this in a random video, and it has a Comey in it, and it's like, cool. And it got to the point where I never need to do any research for anything ever now because I get so much information flowing to me, that people send me stuff. I just take screenshots and I'm like, hey, here's what happened today. Do you get that with VeeFriends, or do you get that with anything else? Like, hey, talk about this on your spaces, type of deal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people get DMs all the time from people, listening in the stream and stuff, which is definitely helpful. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you get all everything that's going on, especially in the BV stuff, like right away.
Yeah. So that's the type of thing, that I get, which is cool. So I wouldn't say broker, although back in the day when there was no when you could transfer things, there would be brokers on there, because back in the day you could transfer like a partner statue like for free, and this way if you didn't sell it and you just transferred it, you can get out of like the secondary fee that's on there. So there'd be broker deals that way, and or people that would just be looking to buy and sell gems. Gems are VeVe's like stable coin. It's just put in $10, you get 10 gems. 1 gem is equal to $1. And back in the day, you couldn't cash out, so it was like, hey, I have 10,000 gems. Can you find someone to buy it for me for like 70, like 70%? I was like, yeah, sure. And then they'd give me like a little tip, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. But yeah, good times.
Sorry, I thought I was muted. No, that's cool. How many? You said there was like 1,200, 2,000 users or whatever a day. How many were there at like in 2021?
Oh, peak, there was well over 100,000 users. It
A
was
day?
insane.
Wow.
Yeah. So there would be like 30,000 comics, like of a random comic. Like, so VeVe likes to say like they only do like key comics, and they have a bunch of grails on there. Like first Marvel comic, first appearance of Spider-Man. They have an insane amount of grails, but they have some one that are like they're super speculative, like at best, or in some that are just like okay. But even the ones that are okay that had 30,000 editions, they would sell out in an instant, and they'd be $7 per comic, and the minimum, like the uncommons are the most like unpopular,
Yeah.
and they would sell for like $9 or $10. And it's like, okay, well, of course you're going to go for it because you're guaranteed to make money, and and there's more users than there are editions. So there was well over 100,000 users, like active, like daily, like at one point. There was also a bunch of bots where people would have like 9 cell phones, and they would use these bots to like try to like get the drop. It was insane. So there's like a lot of collectibles from back in the day that are just in accounts that are like frozen now. So let's say, for example, Partner Statue, his first appearance of Mickey and Walt Disney. There's 4,333 of those. I guarantee you at least a couple hundred of those are in accounts that are just inaccessible.
Yeah.
So there's probably less than 4,000. And that's true for a lot of collectibles from back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the equivalent of people like putting their fucking Charizards in their back pocket and just fucking it up, right? Or just losing
Yeah,
it.
bad times.
So it's like, that's interesting. I wonder how much of that'll happen. Cause like in the book games NFTs I was telling you about with VeeFriends, I think they migrated them, like I said, from IMX to book games, and I don't know, 20-30% or something migrated.
Yeah.
So obviously when NFTs and pop off again and people are paying attention more, that would go up, but still it's just a pretty crazy number. That's still like 70% haven't migrated from the other chain.
So speaking of what's it called that you need to make your normal VeeFriends into like a big head eruption
Yeah,
VeeFriends?
those book games, NFTs, like whenever he released that book, kind of right in the peak of the NFT days, like 2021. And if you
Yeah.
bought 12 of them, he just said you're going to get some kind of NFT. And then if you bought 12 of them, you got the book games token, which came between like series 1 and 2. And then pretty much it started with like 125,000 supply, and you like burn them in these events to get like physical items,
Yeah.
VeeFriends stuff, and the other NFTs. And now the supply is like 75,000. It's kind of like a game theory a little bit of burning it over time. Obviously, hopefully the prizes get bigger over time for like the lesser the supply. And yeah, you have to burn one of those to make the series 2 like the big head. Yeah.
So right now it shows 27,000 of them, but you said it's because most of them were not migrated over from where?
From IMX.
Okay. And but you're sure that like they will at some point, right?
I mean, you'd think that if they're worth right now, they're worth $70 or $80, but like, just like everybody's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna check if I have a Charizard in my basement. In like 3, 5, 10 years, when like NFTs and book games are worth like thousands of dollars, obviously way more people would be like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
how many people are those going to be able to access them, or even like no? I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. But it's bullish for people that are holding them, though. Really.
Yeah. So with this, my first one was a Secure Sparrow because he looked cool. He's like a little where the heck is he? Like he's little businessman over there. He's got a lemonade stand. He's all fully stocked. He just finished his morning rush, and he's taking a little siesta that he earned before the afternoon rush comes in.
Yeah.
And then I realized that he's like almost always on the floor, which means he's probably not that too popular of a character. So if there was one, like nobody would do that to their gift goat, right? They wouldn't like make him like a huge head.
Yeah. So like the black cats, probably not unless you have a bunch of them. Gift goats, probably not either. But the people are doing them to, especially the ones that look good, like the wizard, for example. That
Mhm.
one looks like really good, and that's like a really popular character. I think it's like a kind of thing. If somebody only has one, they're not going to do it. But if they have like three or four wizards and that's their character, like for me, the bull, I have like four, 5 or 6 series 2 bulls, so I'm going to do like one of them just because I want to have one of every like the swaps. But
Yeah.
because they did one for Topps Chrome too, for all the sleeping ones, they turn him into a manga character,
Ooh.
which is really sick. A lot of them look really cool. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. To answer your question, it depends. If people have like more than one of them, usually they'll do it, or if it just really looks really good. Um, have you looked at all of them? Someone look crazy.
Yeah, I actually because when I was taking a look at the explore option and they showed like alpha alligator, I was like, oh, let me take a look. And when I went to the activity, a lot of the alpha alligators that were bought were the ones with the like the last four were the ones with the bigger heads. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Um, so I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Those were the last ones that had sold, and they had sold at a little bit of a premium of what they were. Um, so that's why I was taking a look at it. Um, but I mean, I was just wondering if it that you said the very lucky cat, even though I saw one of the very, 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 very lucky cats that had the big head. Um, do you think that like it essentially like taints the original? I know you said that sometimes people just want one of every variant, which is fair.
Um, that's a good question, right? Like I feel like with the art, it's like obviously subjective. A lot of people just depends on the collector, right? Like I feel like yeah, that might make it more niche. Like maybe more people in the future will be looking for just like a clean, base black cat. But then also you could argue like a big black cat collector might really need that like what's it called?
The
Big head
aggression head.
cat to like complete
Yeah.
his collection, and there might not be that many people who do it. So I would say it probably makes it less liquid, uh, overall. But I think a lot of the time the people who are doing that with their cats is people who have multiple cats. Maybe Mike JY or one of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think some of them look pretty cool, like they with a cat one. So I mean, if I had like 3 or 4 cats or five, I'd probably do it. But
Yeah. Um, so after taking a look at a bunch of the flora a lot, the glowworms, the sparrows, I figured I'd taken a look at a lot of the ones that people were looking at. Um, but there was one that I was certain that I had seen at least all of the characters at least once, but there was one that had sold. Let me go to the activity recently. The Your Poor Relationship with Time. I didn't know that was a character. I was like, who is this ginger looking gal? And then it was like, oh, and then like two of them sold. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Who do you see as a character that maybe isn't necessarily undervalued, or maybe yeah, maybe it's like a dark horse, one that people don't pay attention to, whether it's for good or bad reason? What characters do you think are like so under the radar?
yeah, so that's a good question. The whatever the poor relationship thing, that's one of them. It's called just art category of the series ones, where it'll be like one of them's called like be the bigger person, or fucking whatever. Whether it be like these sayings where it's like this art thing, but they're like that one. It's kind of represented as a person. Um, so those are still characters, but like there's another one that's like if you live for their validation, you aren't living or something like that. That's the one spec that I have.
Okay.
Um, but so it'll be interesting to see what they do with those ones because again, they're not like traditional characters like a fucking zombie or dinosaur or whatever. It's like an idea.
Yeah.
There's like Suffocate Hate is another one where it's like this big, like it looks like a Pokemon almost. Like it's like a thing in the middle that's supposed to be the hate and it's like suffocating it. It just looks crazy. But anyway, that's an interesting question because like there's 250 of them. So it's like you don't really know much about them at all. Like the Gritty Ghost is a really popular one. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't
Uh,
yet.
yeah, it's like a one of this guy Ghost Kid. You should look him up. He's a big collector and he has every character of the VF2s. And
He's got every one.
yeah, yeah, he's a beast.
Holy
He's
crap.
the only person I think who has every 250 carrying. A lot of those are hard to get because they're like rookie characters. They only whatever. And then he has a bunch of the series 2 specs. But anyway, he's like the gritty. He has like a bunch of the gritty ghosts. And what he's done is he burned a bunch of the series 2 ones, so he made it rarer. I think I told you about this a couple weeks ago. So it's like rarer than all the other ones. And then he's offering like bounties for people to burn their gritty ghosts, and he'll like give them like this big super sticker that he got, like just a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, the Gritty Ghost just announced that he's part of this comic where he's like a comedian with this other the Witty Weasel. Like it's
Like a
called like
duo. Okay.
yeah, and they're like trying to come up as comedians, but like you wouldn't assume that the fucking Gritty Ghost. You think he'd be in like a Halloween comic or some shit. So I think
Yeah.
there's so much unknown about the characters. Like I really like the bullish bull again because I'm just it just represents my how bullish I am on VeeFriends, digital assets, all this shit we talk about.
Yeah.
I think that's underrated, but I mean, there's so many of them, dude. I think I think those art ones like you were talking about, they're not thinking of. I don't know, dude. There's so many. I think we don't know anything about any of the characters so far. There's really like 5 or 6 storylines, so there's so many.
Damn, this is wild. Yeah, I was taking a look at some of these now and yeah, beast mode.
It,
I sorry, what were you saying?
no, I was just gonna say it's like there's so many at bats for like VeeFriends because there's so many different. Like I said, 250 characters. Even if they have 2 or 3 of them in one of the comics or the stories, that's
Yeah.
so many different, chances for the story to pop off.
There's what I was thinking, I mean, I wouldn't do I would do this maybe at some point, but there's have you heard of Kabuto King?
Yeah, yeah,
So for those that don't know, he just has got his normal guy made a name for himself by saying he wants to buy every Kabuto first edition fossil, but it was a common card. So even though it's a first edition and it had one print run, so it's not unlimited, it's still a common card. You could basically get one in like every pack, maybe like
yeah,
every other pack. But so when he went to do like a buyout, yeah, he raised the prices from like $20 to like 50, maybe $60 a card. And he
yeah.
wound up getting a couple thousand of them. But I know people like even me myself, I had like a dozen or so of those. It's just really hard to do a buyout because one, you don't exactly know how many of them of the copies that are out there that are just naked. Like you have the PSA versions, like PSA has a pop report for how many are graded, but the ungraded, there's like an insane amount. But for this, and I know we're not at the lows was probably a few months ago, but um if you take like a super underrated, like the lowest, like the glowworm and the Spiros, it seems that those are generally always the bottom and it's like 180, $190 for them. Do you think if you were somebody with like 10, 20 different wallets, and let's say you had like 20 grand, that you could be able to buy, like how many could you buy before people started noticing, there's like 12 sparrows that sold this week, even though they're in like different wallets, like how long before people start to notice?
So there's like a dedicated people in the Discord and like watching the OpenSea and people who are flipping that they would probably notice like within 2 or 3 of them being bought.
Okay.
And kind of be like, oh, that's interesting. Definitely would notice within 2 or 3 of them, 4 of them being bought. Usually when people do that, they just do it in one wallet and they're just, a maxi, they call it, of the character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think pretty quickly because there's the Discord, every time in the Discord a sale happens, it'll
Yeah, I
go
see
off.
it.
So if there's like 5 or 10 minutes apart, they might be like one after another, and then people are gonna be like, what's going on here? So yeah, pretty quickly.
Okay, gotcha. I had so the gift go. I had messaged you the other day, and then I think we're going to talk about it today. I had a
Yeah.
friend of mine. He saw my post of the gift goat, and he's just like, "What do you think about it?" And can you tell us about the gift goat from Series One? Why it's so popular? Why there's 555 of them as opposed to the rest that have like 220, 250?
Yeah.
And just kind of give us a brief background on him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Gift Goat is a NFT that was one of the premium NFTs. So there's and the NFTs that just came out with the characters, which there's like 250 total characters, and then some of them are access tokens, which gave access to like there was a FaceTime fly, FaceTime. There's a few of the FaceTime ones that gave you like a 5 minute like access tokens that give you, for example, 5 minute FaceTime every year for 3 years. With Gary, for example. There's another one that's like a breakfast bat or whatever, where you get that breakfast every year with them at the VCon for the first 3 years. They're all 3 year increments. That's what the original access and the original VCon kind of original contract for those NFTs were for the first 3 years. That was the guaranteed access. You got the guaranteed VeeFriends ticket for holding it. All those different access I told you about. There's a bowling one, like a bunch of one that's still going the hangout hawk where you get to go in like a hangout with like him, Gary, and whatever once a year. So all those ran out in 2024, and it included the gift goat, right? So gift goat is one where there was gifts given out for that 3 years. I think it was, I don't know how many, 3 or 4 a year. So they got a total of like 12 in that 3 year contract. It included a lot of cool stuff, and each of them was a physical gift they would get, and then a digital gift as well. Uh, a few of the big ones would be the comic number one. That was actually like the one of the few before I got mine, which I was pretty bummed on. I had to buy it, but they got
Yeah,
that for free. Comic
the
number one.
those are like 7 grand now if you want the
Yeah.
first comic. That's
E-
insane.
Exactly. And a bunch of different stuff like a workout machine, all this different stuff. Some people, some of the holders loved them, some of them, where they didn't love, but cool stuff like that. And then after that 3 years ran out, so that's why there's 555 of them, right? There's more than any others because they're guaranteed these gifts, right? And they've
Yeah.
ranged in prices. I think they went all the way up to over 100 grand at one point in 2021. And you can imagine what the gift goat really is, and the vision for it is if Disney or Marvel, one of these others, had like an NFT. If they were started with NFTs, they had an NFT where everybody's a holder of it gets access to the premium gifts of whatever rare collectible that they release in perpetuity. Like imagine, and at the beginning that might not be worth a lot, even though they've released these, like you said, a $7,000 comic. But imagine if Disney gets to where it's at, you can imagine the kind of gifts and what that NFT might be worth, even though there's 555 of them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the biggest one too is the Sapphire box with Chrome. For those of you guys might have like know Topps Chrome, they have like, Topps Chrome, and then there's Chrome Sapphire, which is like another, more limited one. And they only had 555 boxes, and those were given to the gift goats. And I think those went up to $7,000 as well. Now they're at like 4 or 5, but
But still.
yeah, I'm just holding mine for either till it's a lot more expensive or the stakes are higher.
Yeah, we have something similar like that on VeVe. It's called a VeVe gold and silver logo. And they get they get things every year. So there's 500 of them. And every year you get these redemption codes, and you get like one or two things each year, and they're usually worth a couple $100. They're not like 5,000. But the NFT right now is worth about 4K. And if you have that, you just get if you go to the events every year, you get these redemptions, and it's usually a couple $100, which is
Nice.
cool. And then you get to talk to David and Dan, like the CEO and the COO, like every year, like a couple times a year, which is really
That's sick.
cool.
How many are
Um,
there?
five. Well, there's 500, but I'm gonna say because the first 40 were like kept by
Yeah.
VeVe, there's probably like and there was a couple that were given out. Like originally they were just given out, like you saw David and Dan at an event, they just gave you one. Um, and back in the day, like they didn't have that plan for it. They're just like it was the first one that they ever gave away for free. So they just gave it out randomly. And there's some people that got it, had no idea what it was, and just like threw it away. So there's probably like 400 something of them.
Wow,
Um,
nice. You
yeah.
got one or no?
Yeah. I actually had the number 41. Like it was like the lowest mint number ever. That's the lowest published mint. And I had they had a bunch of VeVe logos that had they had not done an airdrop for, they just released, and I had all of the number 41s. So in total, I think I had sold them all for 25K. To this guy Raythax, great guy. And that number 41 will probably be worth probably that'll probably be worth like 50, 100K at some point. But so I replaced it with a random one that's like number 368 or something. So I still have that, and that's really cool. I don't really need one because like not to like pat myself in the back, but Randy Chavez, I'll get invited. So there's like exclusive events that you can only go to if you have one of those. I would probably get invited to those anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of VeVe's version of the gift goat. But again, nothing they've ever given away from that has ever reached the thousands of dollars, like they have with VeeFriends. But that is the Series 1 that you were talking about. Is there speculation on anything like that for the Series 2? And was the Series 2 given to the Series 1 holders?
Yeah, good question. So the Series 2, I think that was part of a gift for the Series 1 holders. Um, Also, to answer your question, is there going to be any whatever? There hasn't been so far, but obviously there's always speculation. There's a few other like traits that you've probably seen as well. I'd imagine you've seen on the Series 1s. Like there's signatures on some of them, like Gary's
Yeah,
V signatures. There's the 5 trait, where it'll literally have like fives, like literally like hidden in the character.
yeah,
Uh, a few other stuff like that. The goo, like I told you, GOO, where Gary originally owned, where like when he minted some of them themselves, obviously for the treasury. It's like a PSA slab when like somebody's like owns it, you know what I mean, or upgraded it or whatever.
yeah.
Um, Stuff like that, and obviously we don't know what there's going to probably be utility and stuff like that in the future, but there's stuff like that are kind of unknowns. As far as the Series 2 gift go, there hasn't been anything so far, but you can imagine in the future there's a lot they can do. I mean, that's the kind of the beauty of NFTs. They can do
Yeah.
shit like that at any time.
It could always do something. So that's cool. So again, I got one. It's cool. So there's
That's
and I
another
know
question
this.
too, before I forget. Like, you don't know if the gift goat's going to be part of the IP and story and all that, or if these access tokens are just going to remain, you know, um, just these access. You know what I mean? Are they
Yeah.
going to be part in stories and comics? And we'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping Gary does it like Pokemon, where each comic is, kind of a different thing. Because like all of these stories are related. They're in one thing. I'm only up to like comic number 11 though. So no spoilers for the rest. But I like how, Rare Robot, oh, hey, he's here, but he was there, and it explains how he was there. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, but for the gift goat, when looking at the activity on it, the last 6 sales, 7 sales have all been between 3.0 and 399, or 0.30 and 0.399 ETH. And then now it's like 0.465, and I don't know if anyone's gonna buy it for that price unless they're just coming in, they get FOMO and they just kind of don't know what they're doing. Like obviously you can make offers on this. And the next one after that is 0.4696. So there's two around that floor. And then it goes to 4.499. And so there's three under half an ETH. There are people that I've experienced in Pokemon, in VeVe and stuff, that there are people that came into Pokemon that could not care less about what a Pokemon was. They just came in from sports cards and Civil War memorabilia, and they're just like, what's the top of the top? Like, well, it'd be Pikachu Illustrated, Trophy Kangaskhan, it'd be Super Secret Battle promo. And they'd be like, okay, find me these. I was like, okay. They come in, they buy the best of the best, and then they leave. And we've had some of those with VeVe as well. Have you guys had any experience with that where people come into VeeFriends, they kind of know who Gary is, they don't really care about the IP, but they kind of want the best of the best just in their wallets, and then they're not really part of the community?
So yeah, like you would probably, I don't know, maybe it's still happening in VeVe today, but I think this is like all of NFTs. That's the type of thing that happens during booms and when prices are going up. And I think that's probably what happens in art too, is like these people, you have people like Adam Weitzman and this guy, Miami luxury realtor Amit, who are just fucking beasts, who are going to park their money
Yeah.
in this stuff while attention and hype and spec, or, everything's low. But for the most part, I feel like those guys that just buy shit and fuck off, really come in during like bullish periods, right? You can tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's different in VeVe, but I feel like really the type of people you see start to come in and buy a lot, like myself and Miami Luxury Realtor and Adam Weitzman, during times where times are low, they usually tend to like try to build and whatever, be active and type of shit like that. So I
Yeah.
haven't really seen much of that. I think most of those guys that did do that, I know this guy. There's this guy Ross in the community. He kind of works with VeeFriends. His dad is actually the biggest VeeFriend whale besides Gary. And I don't know how many they bought. Thousands of VF1s,
Holy
maybe a
crap.
thousand VF1, maybe. And then
Oh
like
my God.
maybe between their wallets probably have not as much as that one guy we were talking about that has 3,000 VF2s, but maybe they have 1 or 2,000. And he's he's kind of like that, but he kind of came in. He doesn't really fuck off. Like his son's really involved. But yeah, he bought a bunch during the. Actually, you know what? He did come in kind of when times were low in like 22, 23. He's been buying on the way down. He would be like the closest I would say to that. But yeah, the people that come in during this time and buy a lot tend to be pretty involved. I've noticed.
Okay. Good to know. And so when talking about the gift go, and obviously pure speculation, not financial advice, but um, would you recommend him just be like, hey, just make an offer of like 3.0, 3.5, like whatever, but or would you just be like, hey, bro, stuff's heating up. Is it percentage wise, what do you think the possibility is of somebody just dropping 1.5 ETH on like the three gift goats down at the floor right now, and just buying them up?
1.5 for all of them.
Yeah, so like 0.4695, 0.4696, and 0.499.
Yeah, that's a good question. What was the last one you bought for? Was that like 0.3 or something?
I was like three. I could actually tell you because I have it here. It was 0.355, and the
Okay.
one before me was 0.32. The one after me was 0.30.
And you said the floor right now is 0.46.
Yes.
Okay. So because it's a gift code, I could see, it depends on who it is. People might try to like message or DM the person.
Yeah.
And if it's a matter of a couple $100s, which is kind of a lot on the series twos, because like the floor is less than that, right? So
Yeah.
you're
Floor
talking a
floor's like 200
multiple.
bucks.
Yeah. With a gift code though, I would say it's a big one, because even if they don't put anything in the story, there's obviously a lot of people who have the gift goat series ones who want to have the matching one. Each of the gift goats too, they have the number on the actual NFT. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
that. Stuff like that. So I don't know. The other person, I would say the best bet is go check what the last thing they paid for it was,
Yeah.
and let's say they paid fucking 1 ETH for it, like which a lot of these people did. They might be less likely to haggle on point
Yeah.
10, point 2, but you always can try it. Most of these people are cool and will work with you. Might come down a little bit for you, but I could see, to answer your question, I could see a lot of people, because it's the gift code, saying fuck it, I'll just pay a little bit extra, because there's not too many of these on the floor.
Yeah. I feel like I messed up a little bit with the cynical cap because what the hell did I even get mine for? I got mine for 0.155, which is fine. The one before me was 0.145.
Yeah.
But there was another one for like 0.19, and I was like, I should get it. And now the cheapest one is 0.37, and it's like, damn. Do you think that your tweet, when you said like, hey, Cynical Cat's one of the only confirmed villains, do you think that might have had something to do with the delistings after that?
What you're saying? A bunch of people delisted
Yeah,
the
like
cat.
so when people's like, you know what, he's got a point. Let me not sell it for this price, and then they delisted, and now cheapest you can get it for is 0.37.
Shit, maybe. I think. What was it before? Did you actually see people delisting, or you just like?
Yeah, there was one for 0.199, and then there was one for 0.29, and so those were not bought; those were just delisted because I was tracking them because I wanted them. Like I didn't know like I still don't know where I'm gonna go with this, whether if I want to get like the adventurous astronaut, whether I want to get the Jolly Jacko, or I want to stack cynical cats or gift goats or sparrows. I'm probably not going to stack the sparrows, but yeah, I was looking at them and they are they were not bought. The last one to buy one was me, so they had to have delisted.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I could see that dude be, I posted and then you got your fucking shit. Like
Yeah,
I could see a lot of people, but a lot of people that do own the cats tend to know kind of what they have, and like it's one of those that rarely go on the floor, especially with the series ones and even twos. So it's yeah, that's interesting. I would say for you, I kind of like how you're building a little bit of variety of like some pretty solid characters, and I would just wait, just like any of these things like that you Star Wars nerds are into, like any of these characters call to you, dude. I'm just playing with you, but any of these characters like and from anything like called to you, then start being a maxi. But that's what I did until the bullish bull kind of. I got my first bullish bull, and I just like, well, yeah, this is the one that resonates with me most. And now
yeah.
I've kind of been stacking more of what's it called, more bullish bulls. But even then, there's so much variety. Who knows? These each get different access ones, like different access things. Um, like for example, the one of the ones I have, the hot shit hornet, got, they actually did a thing with Jolly Rancher on Whatnot, where there was like this Jolly Rancher, new gummies that they're coming out. So there was like a set where there was these comic things with the hot shit hornet and one of the other characters.
Yeah.
You get a free box of that, and those were going for like $200 or $300 on eBay.
Nice.
So different stuff like that. I would just stack different characters until one you're like for sure like this is the one I want to collect.
So there's the VeeFriends Series 1, the Series 2, the book games. Tell me about the VeeFriends Iconics.
Yeah, so those are 101s. And I don't know how many different characters are in it, but it's not all of them. And those are like each of them, those are 101s because they're based off the specs.
Yeah.
Pretty much the specs are like the 101s in the VeeFriends. So there's like each character has there's four spec types. It's like the bubblegum, sapphire, fucking emerald, but like there's five of them, whatever, or four of them. And that's what it represents. So whatever 15 characters on there, there's one for each of those different spec types in that kind of art glass, whatever it's called, style. They're pretty cool.
And because there's not a lot of them, they don't sell that often. Like there was 3 sold in the last month, 3 sold the month before that, 6 sold the month before that. Do you think the reason that there's not much activity is because the people that have them are just like, it's a one of one, I'm not selling it, or is it because it's like, well, if you're gonna spend 0.35 ETH, you might as well spend that on like 4 of the VeeFriends Series 2, or it's like, well, do I want 4 of 5 of these, or do I want a VF Series 1? I'd rather take a VF Series 1 as opposed to these. Like, what's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a little of everything. I think those were given out to as a gift to like spec holders or of whatever the characters are. So a lot of them just want to keep whatever spec character they have of the iconic. A lot of it is like you said, there's 3 or 4 different collections. So it's like, do I want to fucking save up for a VF1? They also created a group chat recently where it's like a spec group chat. Nothing
Okay.
else has come of it yet, but like a Twitter group chat where if you have a spec, you can get into that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little of everything. I think a lot of it is there's not that many of them, and they're one-on-ones, and people like buy them to hold for a long time. Usually, like I think actually probably a lot of it is like that's the third or fourth. You don't usually buy that until you have like some series ones or some series twos. So the people that
Yeah.
are buying it are kind of buying it to like buy and hold and less, need it for something. I would say.
Fair. Fair. I've been taking a look at mine. If you mentioned that it's like, hey, we don't know if the gift goat or really how many of these are going to be part of the comics. When you go and you look to buy, does it have to be like the mood strike you? Do you have to have like a daddy soda beforehand, or is it just like, hey, I read this book and now I love this character and that's why I'm going to get it? Or are you more in the speculation play, like this could be a really cool character and that's why I'm going to buy it for the speculation, for like the flip down the line?
Fuck yeah, this is a great question. I'm excited to Yeah, these are gonna. Yeah, this is fire question. I would say, for me, when I bought most of mine, which was in the tail end of 24 into like 2025, and I'm still buying, but where I bought the bulk of it was before there was any comics besides that comic one,
Okay.
um, and that had barely dropped. So there was no stories. You know, there was some collectibles made off of each one and different like pieces of content. There was a cartoon where a bunch of them were together, and like that's why I kind of bought the dinosaur because it was like one of the main characters in the cartoon and stuff like that. So all of the ones I bought essentially have been for a lot of them, besides the gift goat, two gift goats that I have in the spec. I bought most of them near floor, within, let's say the floor's at 1.2, maybe up like 20 or 30% higher. Uh, depending on the value. Some of them I bought because they're rares, they're very rares. Some of them like good characters that I thought were there too. So, for me, when I bought most of them in 24, 25 was based on what value near the floor, to be honest, other than the rare ones that I bought. Um, Based on a bunch of different things. Like I said, the dinosaur was a big one in the comics. The bullish bull, like I said, resonated with me. And then now, really, what I'm trying to do is be more specialized in buying more rare stuff and the characters that I actually like. Now that I have like a bigger bulk collection, I think for me, a lot of them that I bought at the beginning, that I don't really that I might sell on the way up. They're also because I know the series ones will give you access to different stuff, and getting the very rares and the rares at like value near the floor, I think was valuable for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm doing more kind of collecting and buying rare stuff now.
Um, there are so when I look at the explore stuff, I see like the super stickers, which are cool. This lit lamb is like he's like a fig pin. He's like a pin. Same with like a sponge. Um, is that something like the eruptions? Like you had to do something for them to get them to do that, or is that just like a trait?
Yeah, no, it was one of the scene swaps that they did where you could turn your VF2 into one of those super stickers.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
And
there's the pin ones. It was some kind of
yeah.
sweet swap that you could do for one of those events.
And then what did you have to do that?
Same kind of thing. Probably burn a book games. Probably that's how
Yeah.
all of them have been. The manga one you had to burn one of the sleeping pose ones with the book game, and then it would come out as a manga.
Cool. These are
Which is
dope.
cool because like the sleeping pose ones, a lot of them are just like sleeping, and it turns them into like where they're standing up and looking pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the ones with big hat. Yeah, I'm so curious about what I wanna build a collection and do. Have you ever seen the show Billions?
Yeah, a good amount of it. Not like the whole series, but yeah.
I won't do spoilers. All right, so disregard on Billions. Like, there's some people say like they would love to like play a game for the first time again, or maybe that doesn't work. Um, like Pokemon, they like to replay it so that you could play with a different team, a different starter, a different strategy, same starter with different moves. Um, if you were to go and start right now, and let's say like you restart over and you have like, you know what, everything I have is going to be for the long term, and everything new that I get is going to be for like the flip. Everything new I get is just going to be specifically for ROI. If you start right now, what do you go to get in VeeFriends, whether it's series one, series two, the book games, the iconics?
Fuck,
Um,
dude. Randy's always got the great questions, dude. I love this shit, dude. I can't. It's crazy. Fuck. I would say best like ROI in general. Let's start with like which collection. I think it's series two, because series one I think is gonna go. Like I was talking about this with my friend last year. They took 2 weeks to mint out the series ones in VeeFriends when they first came out, and they
yeah,
were on average. They went down to a one e. Excuse me. They went
risk.
down to. Thank you. They went down to one ETH, and then they ran up to 23 ETH. Pretty much, he like created a 20x for anybody who minted the VF ones.
Yeah,
Um, I think, especially it might not be as fast as a climb, but if this becomes a real business, a huge IP, millions of people who love, I think the same thing's going to happen, but even in a crazier level for like Amazon did. It went back way back to all time highs, 20x, but then it kept going for a long time.
Yeah.
I think that happens, and for the Series One, Series Twos, and book games and stuff as well. And you look at which one of those is, if you bought right now, and even if it went back to all time highs, you're getting the best ROI. I think it's Series Two. Even though there's 50,000 of them, I think 50,000 in a few years, when there's millions of people trading digital collectibles, is going to be fucking nothing. 10K
Yeah.
is going to be fucking nothing. Even
Yeah.
100K is fucking nothing when they have the Series Three. That the Series Two, even though it's 50K, they're at point like $200. They're the first ones that they have pushed and will continue to push to the general public on Whatnot, and all these other places. So you're talking just straight ROI. I think the Series Twos, any of the floor ones, especially if you're trying to be liquid, I think those eventually go to an ETH plus, probably way more, even if ETH goes to fucking $5,000-$10,000, just because there's only 50K of them, of the collection, the second collection. As far as like each individual, what like kind of token, even the gift goat right now, I think it's kind of 6 or 7 ETH. Luckily, I was able to get mine at one at 194 and then one at like 3. But
Nice.
yeah, the 194 one is crazy because it was Gary had I had bought some of the VF ones, and it was just really kind of a dark place in NFTs and it the Discord, and a lot of people were doubting. And then all of a sudden Gary came back, because Bored Apes and the Pudgies were going up and stuff. So he came back and saying like the NFTs are like still the number one thing, all this stuff. And I was able to snag one at 194, and then they like instantly ran to like 5 or 6. Um, but even that at like 5 or 6 ETH, like I said, the vision, if the IP gets massive, it's like the gift codes are going to continue to get like the premium, like, gifts and collectibles of the thing. I think that's underrated. You could argue the specs, which because they're 101s. We obviously know 101s and collectibles is huge. Um, but yeah, I would say the Series Twos, and then like the specialty tokens, like the gift code, and probably some of the access ones as well. Probably the access ones too, because like I said, the 3-year contract ran out on those, but they're speculating that they'll bring back some of them. They already brought back the Hangout Hawk. Like they got Neil Patrick Harris to come up on a
That's
thing and like
dope.
rip some cards just for the Hangout Hawk holders,
Yeah.
with Gary. So yeah, if those were to come back, like they reinstate the FaceTimes 3 times a year, like I was saying, you could imagine those. I got kind of like 2 ETH or something. Those will probably go up. Those might be undervalued, but yeah, long term, I'd say the gift goats and then the Series Twos.
Right. So we know the Series Ones went up to like 28 ETH at the peak. The Series Twos went to 4 ETH, and we're 0.08 now.
Series twos are tricky though, because a lot of people actually didn't go above mint price, or like barely went above mint price for a little bit, because like I said, Series One came out, it was book games was in the middle, and
Mhm.
you could use your book games to burn for like a Series Two.
Okay.
And by the time that was happening, it was kind of like the end of the bull run. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the Series Twos barely went in profit, and a lot of people like never their Series Twos never went in profit.
Okay.
Um, so where the Series Ones are really still at mint price right now for the most part, the Series Twos are kind of much below, and that's why I think to the
Oh, how
upside,
much did
the
they cost
opportunity.
to mint the Series Twos?
A lot of them, I think, were maybe point 0.2, point 0.3, half an E, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I think, and a lot of them you could burn the book game for, but I don't know. The book game at the time was like point 0.5, point 0.4 or something. If I
Okay. So there
remember
was
correctly.
only like for a very small amount of time in like April of 22 that the average price was like 4 ETH. Like that was only a couple of them.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even know if they went to 4 ETH. That sounds pretty crazy. But I could be
it
wrong.
it
Maybe
said
it
the
did.
average moving price. I imagine those were for special ones though.
Yeah.
Like
The floor
like
price maybe went to an ETH, but I don't even think so.
okay.
Maybe I think they went to like an ETH and then went down, but it's not too much above what it minted for. But
Yeah.
again, to the upside, that's why I think there's so much upside to it. A lot of people say, oh, like the Series Twos, like nobody made money on it. It was kind of a L or like a wash, whatever. But that's, I think, the opportunity to the upside. That's why it's so much higher too.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and there's shows 0.089 even as far as like September of last year 0.08. So this actually might even be like close to the low, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, a lot of this is again like you can feel it in the different NFT community on X. There's like 5 or 6, 10 like IPs that are like real collectors. People are collecting because they're like fucking with the actual art and the community and all that.
Yeah.
And um and the supply is getting bought up on VeeFriends. A lot of the like the whales are buying up a lot of the specs, like that guy Miami Luxury. I don't know
Yeah.
how many specs there are. There's fucking 1,000 specs. He bought like 70 of them, right? Like there's different whales buying up the supply. I think there's all we need is a little bit of demand, even if it whether it comes from ETH going up and hitting new all-time highs, or just some mainstream catalyst for NFTs, whether it be some big company launching a project or buying out a company or one of those things to fucking send everything like crazy. So,
Yeah.
what was your question that I was
I don't
replying
know.
about to? Sorry, my bad.
It's all good. Well, tell me about the Series 3s and the speculation on that.
Yeah. So the Series threes, they said they're not going to do it anytime soon, but eventually it will be coming.
Yeah.
And the way they did the Series twos last time, like I said, I think the Series ones all got one, like airdropped, and then you could burn one for the series for the book games for the Series twos.
Yeah.
You'd imagine it'll be the similar kind of thing. They'll probably give obviously one to a Series one. I think what happened is the Series one got the evolvings, which I don't. It's like a rarity in there, which it's like it's pretty cool. It's like Pokemon where the characters like coming out of a card and like evolving. I don't know if and those got airdropped to the Series one holders. So you'd imagine something like that will happen again, where
Yeah.
probably Series ones will give it, maybe Series twos will get it, and I'd imagine it'll be like 100,000 of them this time, where
Yeah.
they probably release new characters, maybe have the characters in a different kind of art style. But to answer your question, he said it's coming eventually, but not to expect it anytime soon. That they have a lot of work to do with the other to create demand for the other ones first.
Yeah, that which is fine. That's what I love to see. I so this is where VeeFriends and VeVe differs a lot. On VeVe, you have all of the fans of Spider-Man and Mickey Mouse and Batman and Superman, and you have your weird stuff too. Like you have the Cryptkins, you have like Cryptozoic, like you have the stuff that from Designer Con where yeah, they might have a couple 100,000 fans on Instagram, but you know, a lot of the stuff has seen its best day. But the big IPs like the Darth Vaders and the the Baby Grogu's, like they have their fans, but once they sell out, you're really counting on the fans coming in and wanting to buy one. And as the tech gets there, like as people are more involved with AR and VR and people get more comfortable with blockchain, that they'll come. But you almost never have the IPs themselves promoting it. Yeah, VeVe that promotes the shit out of it the week of the drop, but after the drop, they almost never do it. They're doing something different this year where they had Avatar Aang come out like last month, and he did really well. They made like $100,000, give or take. It did awesome. And normally that's the last you'd hear of him from VeVe, but they're going to have multiple drops from Avatar this year. Like the next one is, I think, going to be Katara, and if you put your Aang next to Katara, he changes from like an airbender to a waterbender Aang, and that's really cool. So they're finally doing that with Avatar Aang. They're doing that with two other ones. I'm forgetting what they are right now. One's gonna be solo leveling, and the other is the Phoenix Five, like from X-Men.
Cool.
So each one that they have with that, they'll get brought into the spotlight again, which is really cool. But they're only doing it on like certain drops, whereas someone like Gary from VeeFriends, like he's talking about them every day,
Yeah.
like every day. And I think that what happens, like you ever see Watchmen?
Yeah.
And what's his name is talking to Rorschach about just like, well, this is a random attack, and it was like he was a masked villain. He wasn't really a masked hero. And Rorschach's like, an attack on one is an attack on all. And I feel like as Gary promotes any of the VeeFriends, a promotion of one is going to be a promotion of the other because, oh, hey, I like this little sparrow dude. what is VeeFriends? And then they'll, like in Pokemon, people tend to get into the stuff that they liked when they were a kid, and then the stuff surrounding it. So if they liked, let's say, Ponyta, they'll get Ponyta, they'll get Blaine's Ponyta, and then they'll get Blaine's Rapidash, and then they'll get Rocket's Rapidash. Like they'll get all of these ones that are close in similarity to Ponyta. Whereas in Series 1, let's say if they happen to like, the rare robot, they'll go in and they'll like, okay, he's in this comic, so they might buy the physical comics of him that's in there, and they might buy any of the characters that he's interacted with.
Yep.
So the promotion of one, which Gary does all the time, and Gary's got, his followers are all mostly, they're entrepreneur minded, some of them maybe a little bit misfits, and they're all very driven. Like, you're not listening to Gary Vee or Jordan Peterson if you're just like, if you want to continue being a fat piece of shit, like laying on the couch, like just playing video games. Like, you're listening to them if you want to change your life for the better.
Yeah.
And let's say you don't have that, positive, or not even positive, a good male role model in your life, but then Gary Vee is that for you, and he helps your life. You're gonna be like, hey, you did this for me, let me support you, let me buy your VeeFriends, let me buy this. And then you get in that community where everyone's kind of like-minded. You find that community, and people that wouldn't have otherwise had anything in their life like that, they can go to like a VCon, they can go to a VeeFriends event, a Comic-Con, or whatever. Long story short, to put this all in one phrase, I'm very, very bullish on him because he promotes it like every day.
Yeah.
And unless he dies an untimely demise, he'll be doing so for the next minimum decade, if not the rest of his life.
No, he said the rest of his life. Yeah. Fucking for sure. I mean, like, there's so much to fucking unpack there, dude. So much good shit. I mean, you could touch on even like the whole Pokemon thing too, which we should right after this. That like people are falling in love with these characters, but like from what I understand, I didn't really watch. I watched some of the cartoon, right? But I can't like remember. I didn't watch like all of them or even close. Like, how much story building was there for each of these Pokemon, right? Like, I know to this day, even some of the newer Pokemon,
they get one episode.
Yeah, like one episode, right? Because there's so fucking. How many Pokemon?
Over 1,000.
Back when the show was on, how many were there? Like a few hundred?
150, 151.
Okay. So that they probably modeled a lot. I mean, you probably learned a lot from Pokemon in that sense and kind of modeled it after that. And to this day, like obviously Charizard and stuff probably has a lot of lore, but like some of the biggest chases in a lot of these sets, I know for sure that they have barely, if any, IP like lore that they built, right? But yet there's cards that are worth fucking $10,000-$20,000 around it. Do you think that's just like a unique thing around Pokemon, really? Where of course they had the manga and of course they built stories with the games, where like, but they can still to this day like build these huge collectible like $1 billion drops with the cards without building IPs? And are you seeing any other projects do that, or is, from what I noticed, Marvel, Disney, all these, they built stories that people love the stories, and then the collectibles are doing it. Like, you know what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah. So in recent history, a lot of like, the reason why I think manga tends to do better than a lot of like Western, like American comics, is because the mangas are allowed to end. They're new characters, they're incredible storytelling, and the stories are allowed to end. And as much as I love Spider-Man and Iron Man, Captain America and Wolverine, there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of stories of these characters. And for the most part, and they're written super well, a lot of them, but we didn't like, when there was a new Spider-Man, like a new Miles, like there's Miles Morales, like it took some getting used to, but that is one of the most popular characters like ever now. And he's like 10 years old, right? Like the character's 10 years old. They had Ms. Marvel, and she, unlike most comic book characters that are hot, Ms. Marvel, one, she's like a kid, right? She's like 16, but she's drawn to be really not good looking, like the Eliza Thornberry of Marvel comics. Like,
Crazy reference.
apologies to anyone that liked Eliza or Ms. Marvel, but the way it wasn't about the way they drew her, it's the way that they had written her, where she spoke millennial, where she would like she would speak in pop culture references and say heckin' and doggo, and she'd be up to date on memes and phrases, and then also that it was a weird thing because they in like 2016 a lot of people used her as like an anti-Trump thing, so there was a lot of popular, but her first book, like her first series that had 7 print runs, and that never happens for Marvel in the last like decade or a couple of decades. So I think with I forgot I forgot the point I was making. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
I'm so, so sorry.
You're saying, oh, I was asking like, my question was, Pokemon's pretty.
Oh yeah,
Pop-
okay. So yeah, like Gary, he's got the comics. He's got the and this is what I really like too. Like I do not like the show, like the cartoon. Like now, granted, it's for like 5-year-olds, right? It's for like kindergartners. It's for
yeah.
kids. Um, which is great because like I don't watch like Lululemon or Dora or Alphabet Lore, but hundreds of millions of kids do, and they're
Yeah,
all
it's a really early thing too. Like I'd imagine like that's just like really early version of stuff where like a bigger show cartoon stuff I'd imagine be in the works eventually. But I mean that was a pretty big Coco Melon's like a pretty big whatever. But I think it's like anything, there's just not much demand for it yet. But like when I think their main way to build, and sorry to interrupt you, is just through the collectibles and through other NFTs and stuff. Whereas
Mhm.
back in the day, like the show and stuff might have come first, you know. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I have to just 1 second. I have to do. I'm doing a quick OTC deal or someone. I just don't want to, and it's
No
like a five
worries.
figure amount. So I want to make
No
sure
worries. Let's do a
that
quick
I.
reset though. I think we should first of all, Randy, think of a name for the show. If we're gonna do this every Thursday, we should talk about that. To
Hmm.
everybody, I don't know how you feel about that. That'd be cool. But um, also, what's it called? What was I gonna say? But we should do a reset. Like I appreciate everybody for being here. Again, Randy and I are doing this show every Thursday. I came a little late today, but at 5, what is it? 6 p.m. PST, which is 9 EST.
Eight
Um,
8 p.m.
I'm sorry, is
Here.
it 8? Oh, 8
Yeah,
where you're at.
because PST it's 5 p.m. But for EST it's 8 p.m.
Damn, we've already been doing this for like an hour and a half now. That's crazy since I've been
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Dang,
Good time.
it's fucking flew by. It's been fun. But yes, 6. So it'd be 8 EST. I'm sorry, 5 PST, 8 EST, Thursday. We've been talking a lot about VeeFriends lately, VeVe obviously, but I think we'll start talking about all things NFTs, especially as things move. Um, and yeah, Randy, I think you should first of all, you don't have a series 1 yet, but I'm sure series 2s will get some kind of access to early Topps Chrome. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. Like the inserts last year were a lot of fun. I know they're going to be even better this year. And there's some cards that, big hits that go for 100, 200, $500,000. So I think you should
Sheesh.
definitely participate when it comes around. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the what do you call it? That's the fuck. I didn't even drink today. This is sorry. Oh yeah, so you mentioned a couple weeks ago that there's only ever like 5 other IPs that got like a Topps Chrome thing, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, Top Scrum so far has been Disney, Marvel. SpongeBob just got it recently. Um, Disney, Marvel. There was MetaZoo, which is this random one.
I remember
MetaZoo.
that,
Yes, Garbage Pail Kids, and then maybe one others, but just big IPs. And then VeeFriends obviously last year signed that deal. A lot of it probably Gary's good friends with Michael Rubin. He obviously sees his vision, obviously as a builder, but probably with the whole NFT thing. I'd
yeah.
imagine they gave again Series 1 holders got access to a pre-sale of the box for $100 before anybody else, even before the general public got it. And then those boxes ran up to $700 within a few months. Now sitting at
Yeah.
like 3 or 4. And that's after there was like this crazy thing where VeeFriends accidentally somehow on their website the boxes that are again $700 went they let them go for like a fucking $100 or something, 200 of them, and all these like guys that have these bots set up on these websites to like check them took advantage. So like it kind of drove down the price, but yeah.
You are making me more bullish, sir, on these on these NFTs. So part of the reason why I love NFTs and digital collectibles in general is because, like, for my I don't even know how many I have on VeVe. I think there's like 3. Oh shit! I am now a master collector on VeVe. Very nice. That's generally very hard to do.
Damn, what does that
Um,
mean?
well, I'll give you a show here real quick. So I have 1,263 collectibles and
Damn.
2,458 comics.
Jeez.
Yeah, I went a little hard on this. So there's different ranks, and you can get to. So every collectible you get gives you like a point. Is this known as an MCP point, a Master Collector Program point, and each collectible you get, gives you one, unless you stack them. Like let's say like common Ryu, like from Street Fighter. He gives you a point, but if you have 2 of them, the second one of him gives you 0.75 points. Third one gets you a third of a point, and then the fourth one gets you a tenth of a point. And then the fifth and so on will all just give you a tenth of a point. And even whether it's a common or a secret rare, you get 1 point for it. But you get a rarity bonus. So if you have a rare collectible, you get an extra quarter point. If you have an ultra rare, it's a half a point. And if you have a secret rare, you get 5 points. And those don't diminish. So you can stack the secret rares however much you want. So depending on how many points you get will determine what rank you are. So I get 3,800 points a day. So I'm a master, but it's also curved where the less people that there are, the harder it is to get to master. If there's more people, then it's easier to get to master because it's a percentage of how many people are on the app. So if there's only, let's say, 1,000 people on the app, and let's say only like a couple percent could be master, you need to be in like the top 30 or 50 or whatever. But if there's 10,000 people, then suddenly, you could be like one of like 500 or something like that.
How many are there right now that you probably don't know, but like approximately, if you had to guess?
They don't give us the files. The Collect Chain doesn't give us the files anymore. The last time we were able to do this was February, where there was about, on any given day, 800 to 1,200 people. Now there's more because we've gotten so many more new users because they partnered with like X-Men updates and Daredevil updates and Spider-Man updates, like all these characters on X. And then they also have like if anyone uses my link down below to sign up for VeVe, they get 10 free gems, which is $10. They could use that wherever they want. So a lot of people have been sharing like their referral code. They've been sharing, whatever code that it is. And as long as people take those gems and they spend it in the store, you get like a $5 credit for it. If they would have done this in 2021, I probably would have made $100,000 on it. But because they did it like recently, I made a couple hundred on it. Like it's not like everyone that I had wanted to get into it had gotten into it already. But now for the bull run, that's probably going to be like a lot. Like if there's like 1,000 new users and I get $5 from each of them, that's a decent, 5K check. There is, I forget the question again.
Fuck,
How many? Oh yeah, how many users? So now we don't know, but I'm
no,
gonna say there's
how many have the master ranking?
like a couple percent. I think it's like 3% of the entire app can get that. Like you just have to be in the top 3%.
Nice.
So whether there's 100 people on the app or 10,000 people on the app, you just have to be in the top 3% of
So you
that
can
get the
fall
most.
off based on like other people's.
Yeah. So there's certain drops where you can only get them like if you're a master collector. So what people will do is they'll say like, oh, this drop, I need to be a master collector. They'll just buy, because there's different ways to get points too. Like you can go and comment like on the feed. Like you can make, like people will be talking on the app's feed all the time. So when you make a post, you get like a certain number of points. When you comment, you get a certain number of points. And if you buy a collectible from the store, you get a certain number of points. If you buy it from the market, you get a certain number of points. So people just spend like X amount of dollars and they'll buy stuff or whatever. And they'll just do it that way to make sure they get the drop. But generally, I don't think I might have bought like one or two things yesterday that were like a couple bucks. Yeah, I bought like two things. So I got, instead of like, I have 3,840 points where I would have gotten maybe like 3,700 points, give or take.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What other exciting besides the avatar and the fucking Mickey and Friends shit, like other drops? And when they come out, is it usually like out of nowhere, or like, I bet you probably
They
fucking
announce them
figure shit.
like, well, let's say for like Street Fighter, like when they announced that first, that was like so huge because they had never announced it before. And I think Ryu was the first, and then Ken, and then they did Chun-Li and Sakura. But when they announce a new license, that's really big. When they announce like we have M Bison coming out on Saturday. And we knew this for like a week now. Like they'll tell you like a couple weeks in advance what's coming.
Yeah.
But when you get the new license, it's like when Avatar came out, like that was really cool. When they announced solo leveling, and that they legit made a new Instagram for solo leveling. Like they have it for it's called VeVe Korea. Like they have the normal VeVe Instagram, but they made VeVe Korea specifically like for this try, and they partner with a bunch of those influencers, Korean influencers. But aside from that, the biggest ones that they've announced recently, I guess Paramount. So we have Nickelodeon. So we have Ren and Stimpy was, I think, the first one that happened, and then, well, I guess Paramount. We have Star Trek, so we've had that for a while. But then obviously Avatar. But we'll probably get like Rugrats. We'll probably get SpongeBob. We'll get Hey Arnold. Like because like if you have Paramount, like you're gonna have all of those licenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So what was the first one to have the Nickelodeon? Was it the Recur?
Yeah, it was Recur had it was so bad. But yeah, they had Rugrats, they had the Hey Arnold, and then I think they had some that Riptar was like a separate license for whatever reason. Like I don't like they were part of Rugrats, but it was a separate license. I don't know why. Maybe the rights of Riptar were bought and then absorbed by parents. Some weird accounting thing.
Do you think a reason for a lot of these NFTs to maybe I'm sorry, existing IPs to make NFT projects is if like there is some kind of big metaverse, whether it be AR, VR, or just like a Fortnite one or whatever, and they like want to own the property like of it or whatever digital wise, and it just makes sense to like make them NFTs.
For the
And so,
licenses, you mean? Like the
well, let's
incentives for
just say
them?
like the big metaverses right now, they're just licensing the fucking IPs, but like obviously maybe not just for this, but like it might be a big catalyst for big IPs to come and make NFT collections is if there's these big metaverse games where everybody's playing, like Fortnite, like whatever, and they're the ones actually releasing the collectibles themselves to be used in game, like interoperably. Right now, obviously Fortnite is just like a closed garden. Like you buy it in Fortnite, it stays in Fortnite. But
Yeah.
let's say they really do start, putting everything on chain and you can move your assets out of games. Do you think that the Pokemon or whatever might start creating these digital assets themselves, NFTs, and releasing them for the games and then a bunch of other different stuff as well?
It'll be hard because you have, let's say like Netflix was like probably the first major way that you could stream, movies or shows. But everything was on there, and everyone wanted to get on there because if you are on Netflix, like there's you just get foot traffic. You get more people towards your IP. And more people watching means that your IP is worth more. It's like, hey, this many people watch me. So where are all the people going that they're watching? They're on Netflix. Okay, we have to get on Netflix because this way we're going to be shoulder to shoulder with, like the Marvel, Daredevil, Defenders, Jessica Jones will be on par with. I think Infinity War was on there for a while. Like 10 years ago, it was really only Netflix. And the more people that watch your stuff, the more your IP is worth. So, but then you had HBO Max, and then there's like Peacock, and then Disney Plus, and because they all started making their own thing. So I think with Fortnite, why a lot of people want their IPs on there is one, because it's very scalable. Like, for example, a physical version of, you know, the KFC Fig Pin is cool, and he's small, so, you know, I get him. But for it costs money to make this. Like, however much it costs for one, it'll cost for 2, 3, 4, etc. But the digital ones, you make them once, and you just click, 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 and then you make them forever. So it's very, very scalable. It doesn't cost as much. And a lot of stuff for, let's say, like Funko Pops or whatever, a lot of them not really good for the environment. They end up in landfills. They end up in wherever. But I think what a lot of companies would want to do is they want to say, like, hey, we can, the cost of goods, and I don't want to go to like the finance, like, okay, we have our product, we you know, our sales, and we minus that from our end product. Like, I'm just talking about the amount, the cost to make an item is so much cheaper digitally. And yeah, like Dragon Ball Z or Marvel or whoever can make physical items all the live long day, but it costs a lot to do that, and it costs a lot to ship, especially with this, you know, shipping war and tariff war, and, you know, gas prices going through the roof. But if they go on what's it called, Fortnite, where there's already 100 million people playing, suddenly you can never reach that in a mall. You can never reach. You could have the biggest mall in the world, and it'll never have 100 million people per day there. Like, it's just impossible. But online, where everyone can play in it, then suddenly you get your items exposed to that many people all at once, and one product, like just one skin that everyone can use in their own way, is sold 100,000 times and makes an insane amount of money. So that, and Roblox is similar, but the way that Fortnite, I'm not going to say fails, because they've been like the biggest game for like a decade, but the way that they have done it is they have to go similar to VeVe. They have to have conversations with each, like you would assume that just because you have Disney means that you have all of Disney. You have to go to Walt Disney Studios, and you have to go to Star Wars. You have to go to Marvel. You have to go to the executives of all of these companies. Both VeVe and Fortnite have to do this, and say, like, hey, can we? You have to get an agreement, and it takes a bunch of time. The way Roblox is doing it is so much easier. There's like, hey, anyone that has the digital licenses for any of these IPs, you have our permission to, like, come on and build anything in Roblox. And
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if the digital economy becomes fucking trillions of dollars and people are
yeah,
buying a bunch of shit digitally, I just think it makes more sense that, like, right now, obviously it makes sense to just license their IP to Fortnite and they just create the skins and whatever. But because there's just like, there's money on the table, but it just makes more
yeah,
sense to do that. But if there's like the royalties and on chain, like, I just think the future might be where, yeah, there might be a metaverse or a whatever game like Fortnite or Roblox that's centralized, but instead of licensing their IP, they create the fucking, and of course it's gonna have to be an on-chain thing, right? Like, where they create their own digital items that people buy from Disney or whatever, and then that you can use in your Fortnite metaverse, Roblox, all different ones where it's like interoperable. I just think
yeah,
it makes more sense for the either to use something like VeVe or make it all themselves, and then also be able to on chain, be able to apply royalties versus giving all the upside and everything to Roblox and Fortnite. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that might actually be what is the first entrance meaningfully for a lot of these different IPs into
yeah.
NFTs.
Give me one second. How much more can I do? Question mark. For the what do you call it? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, interoperability, like if all of them, every single NFT could be on one chain, be interoperable, and all the metaverses could be interoperable with each other, that would be incredible. That would, but unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. Like, there's for example, I don't think I can use that example. For this, like, there's, let's say, like Earth2. Like, some people build their metaverse on like Unreal Engine 5, some will be on Unity, some will be like, you know, wherever. And it's just, some people just think that, yeah, we're going to do this because it works best for us. And nobody's There are a few people like I think Disney invested a certain amount into Fortnite. Um, and the I forget what the Cavernous is helping build Disney's metaverse, and Cavernous is also helping build VeVe's metaverse. So most likely those metaverses will be interoperable. Um, I don't know if eventually, like the same way you could have like you can migrate from this chain to this chain. Like if you want your collectible to be in this metaverse or go from this metaverse to that one, it has to be
Pretty
like a
sure you
back
could
end.
wrap the item like Disney would sell you the fucking whatever fucking. And again, it doesn't have. It could be in different games. They have different NFTs in different games they're selling. But the interoperability would be like, okay, you get the fucking Mickey, whatever the fuck,
Yeah,
and then that one, let's say Fortnite is on ETH, but Roblox is on Avalanche. You would essentially probably be able to wrap it over to Avalanche and use that same item. They're two different economies. Wouldn't really. It'd be two items. You know what I mean? That somehow
yeah,
I don't know. You sell one. I don't know how. You know what I mean? I don't know how that all works, but I'm pretty sure the technology could be fixed.
yeah,
And I don't know. That's just interesting. I just to me, I just feel like if the digital economy gets so big, everybody's buying shit digitally, that even if everybody's playing in these metaverses, that Disney doesn't leave all the upside up to fucking Fortnite, and they probably start making the digital items themselves. But I
yeah.
don't know.
Give me one second. I'll have to do one more transaction here. Um,
It's like I think it's a world where it's not like it's gaming, like everybody's kind of in like the metaverse like type of thing, and we're probably farther than that. Like where it's the normal thing for people to be in AR probably comes first, right? Where it's not
yeah.
just like some kids gaming, it's like everybody's kind of in that kind of world type of thing.
As I get to this, let me ask you a question here. In the past few years, which metaverse have you enjoyed the most, and which one are you most excited to make a comeback for?
Great question too. So the the ones I've tried again, the one that's probably most profound again, dude, was probably that was definitely the Horizon Worlds with Meta, dude. Like, have you tried
Okay.
that?
I haven't. I've seen really cool things. But no, I haven't
Dude, I
tried
was
it yet.
playing that. I haven't tried it in the last few years. I still have the headset, the Quest 2 or whatever, but the even back in I don't know, I think it was 23, 24, dude. Like there's these different games you can play, shooting games and stuff, which is cool. It's like you have the headset on and it's really cartoony, but it's like you have your own character and you're seeing in first person, and then there's a bunch of other people playing too, and you can have face-to-face conversations with people like where you're looking at them, their cartoon avatar or whatever, and like you're just talking face to face with them, and it's just really fucking weird. You have to experience it. But there's like this one section where there's you can go watch concerts. So it's like a fucking Young Thug concert you could go watch with other people too. So you look to your side, you see the other people watching it too. Um, and there was like an NBA game and different stuff. And like outside of that, there was like a guy from Japan, a guy from France, another guy, whatever. And I was really having like a conversation with five other people from all over the world, like a face to face, like almost. And it was just like it was fucking crazy. Like never experienced something like that. And obviously that's in VR, so that's like way out there, and it's like way not early. But I've tried it a few times, but recently tried the more final version of or complete version of the other side, which we were talking about, which I think is really cool. It's looking sick. They have that voice chat where like I think Fortnite has it now, where like even if 150 people are around, you can kind of hear like everybody. It's like the whatever chat.
Yeah.
Um, so like that can support like large amounts of people in it and stuff like that has a lot of potential. And then obviously Decentraland and all that was pretty cool back in the day when everybody was fucking around with that. But to answer your question, the craziest experience I've ever had by far was in the Meta Horizons world, whatever.
Talking to people face to face is cool. I forget what it was, but it was the AR. I think it was Meta AR. I forget which AR headset it was. But I was able to put it on and would see people technically in the metaverse, and it was really cool. It wasn't. I don't think it was. Horizon because it was well, I only saw their face.
Was it fucking the other one that was way more popular actually? The VR chat.
It might have been that, yeah.
VR chat's the one where like there's all these different IPs in there and people like fucking all these different cartoon ones.
Were they licensed though? I feel like because
No.
I saw like Kermit the Frog on a skateboard and Bob Piggy was on like
That was definitely VR chat or one of those.
yeah,
That one, I don't think it was licensed though. I don't
yeah
know how that
that
worked.
it was still cool though. Okay, I'm gonna have to bounce here soon. Let's wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say to people before we end it for tonight? And then we'll talk off air for a minute.
Yeah, no, I would say appreciate you guys for being here. Again, this is something we're doing every Thursday around, again, the 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. I think NFTs, especially digital collectibles, are really just starting to heat up in the short term. But I'd say over the next few years, 5, 10 years especially, the world's only getting more digital. Collecting is huge. Digital assets are getting huge. Crypto and blockchain. I think digital collecting and digital ownership is only gonna come to prominence over the next few years. And VeVe, VeeFriends, all these different projects we're talking about, I think we're super early too, and it's just fun. It's fun to talk to you guys. I appreciate everybody for being here, and I'll see you next week.
Hell yeah! All right, everyone, go and say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi and the Yoshi boys. We love y'all. Until next time. We'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.